every day. I think that's important. I would recommend everyone to do that. I would recommend you teach your children to do that and so on, because they do all these. I'm wondering if all these geniuses out there, they kept journals. And it's curious, like, do they keep journals because they're geniuses, or is it because they're journaling all the time that they become geniuses, right? You think about Da Vinci's journal and Einstein's journal. I mean, they're priceless, right? Anyway, I wrote in my journal saying, I want to meet this author. I'm not ready right now. I'm not smart enough because I want to have a good conversation with him, but give me 2 years. And I wrote this in my journal. 2 years later, I am in Boston and I'm giving a talk. And I get out of the lecture center. I turn the hallway and I swear to you, Katie, there's the author. 2 years to the date. And this is a book on quantum physics, right? And so that just blew my mind. And we have this, it's Deepak Chopra, right? This was 25 years ago. And I tell him this story. I was like, oh, you don't know, I read this book 2 years ago. I wrote it in my journal and I said 2 years, and 2 years later, this is you. And I was just blown away. And we sit down and have this incredible conversation over lunch about Ayurvedic body types and how they correlate to learning styles. And I remember he said this phrase to me. He's like, Jim, the average person I was talking about quick thinking, which is like something I'm really big on, teaching people how to make decisions and solve problems and everything. So we're not taught how to make good decisions, yet our life is a reflection of all our decisions. He's like, Jim, the average person has 60,000 thoughts a day. And I'm thinking, wow, that's a lot of thoughts. He was like, yeah, but the problem is 95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts they had yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that. And we know the power of thoughts are things, and that's why people aren't changing, because, they have the same habit of thought, going back to those logical levels of transformation. But the book was the book. It was Quantum Healing. And it was just one of many of those books, if you will, but it kind of got me really open to the idea that thoughts are things. But since then, I mean, for 4.5 years, I've been reading a book a day, at least 5 to 6 books a week. So I love books. I've never read a book that I didn't get some value out of, just like people. I've never met a person in my life I haven't learned something from.
Absolutely. I think you're right. The lessons in life are everywhere. And last question, and then I want to make sure people can find you online, but is there any parting advice or just a single piece of advice that you'd like to leave us with? You've already shared so much and given so much wisdom, but any last parting advice?
I would say this, that I have a quote that I get tagged in every single day, dozens of times, and it basically says this. It compares your life to an egg, that if an egg is broken by an outside force, life ends. But if it's broken by an inside force, life begins. All great things begin on the inside, right? And I believe that you have genius inside of you. You have greatness inside of you. Your kids have greatness inside of them. They have genius inside of them. And that my advice is to remember and to teach them that genius is learned. That genius is learned through it's trained, right? And it's really our work, as whether it's as parents or as teachers, it's about transcending. It's about ending the end the trance, ending this mass hypnosis, propagated by media or from marketing, that we're not enough, that somehow we're broken. Like, I was the boy with the broken brain, and teaching people the truth that genius is learned, that through discipline, study, through consistency, if you're persistent, you can get it. And if you're consistent, that you could keep it. And it's available to everyone, regardless of their age, their background, their career, their education, their financial situation, their gender, their personal history, their IQ. None of that matters. It's available to all of us. And so having that mindset, that we are responsible, that greatness comes from within, and it's available to all of us. That's the advice, is to encourage that. I believe that really my mission, is, yes, we teach people tools and resources and techniques, but also there's an attitude here, that we stand for. We stand for, all of us collectively who's listening to this, we stand for, our potential, that it's not fixed like our shoe size, that it could grow with intention and through effort. and everything is available to us. And the goal to do it is to be able to do it together through community, exactly what you've created and dedicated your life to.
I love it. And Jim, where can people find you? I know that you have inspired a lot of people in this episode, and they want to stay in touch with you and keep learning from you. And of course, the links will be in the show notes as well. But where can people find you online?
I would just say two places. People who listen to our podcast, when people listen to it, they're short. Every episode's only 10 or 15 minutes long. We don't even have sponsors in it. People can listen to it. They're brain hacks for busy people who want to learn faster and achieve more. So there's episodes on how to study. There's episode on how to listen better, how to learn a language, how to change your habits, how to break old habits. There's an episode on my top 10 favorite brain foods. There's an episode actually where I teach the 10 keys that I taught here, but I show you how to memorize it and give a speech without notes. There are episodes on how to remember names and how to read faster and have better focus. And it's all available. Really, I designed it to be an online portable academy. You start with episode 1, download all the episodes, and it's like a mobile mind. So you have it on there, and it doesn't take up a lot of room on your phone because it's so short. People could just go to kwikbrain.com and access any of that. KWIK brain, that's really my last name.com, and also get some free training on how to teach you how to memorize the periodic table and some really fun stuff on video form, so that we make that available for people. And then the second thing I would say is on social media. Like we're very active on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And so what I would suggest everybody does that will accelerate your learning is take a screenshot of this episode, if you will, post it, tag Katie and tag myself so we see it. And I would say that my last tip for everybody is if you want to learn something faster, learn it with the intention of teaching somebody else. Because I want everyone, if they're willing to do this, I challenge you to re-listen to this episode because I know it was dense. Take notes. And if you don't know how to take notes, we did a whole episode on our podcast on how to take notes effectively because 98% of the population don't because they're not taught how. Re-listen to it, take notes, and share your biggest aha. Learn with the intention of teaching a friend of yours or your children or your family or somebody at work, because when you learn with the intention of teaching, your focus is better. You'll take better notes. You'll ask better questions. And take a screenshot of this episode, tag us both, and share with us in your description, whether it's on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, your biggest aha, your biggest takeaway, because that's you stepping into the role of being a teacher again and owning the information. And because I think the best teachers are the best students. And post your biggest aha or takeaways from this episode, and then maybe your question, because I'll definitely see it and do the best I can to answer your burning question you have about it. So I'm just at Jim Kwik, KWIK, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'd love to connect with you.
Wonderful. You're so generous to offer that. And of course, those links will be in the show notes as well. Jim, like I said, I could talk to you all day, and I think we're going to have to do a round 2, maybe one day once we get questions in. But I so much appreciate you being here. I know that time is one of our most valuable resources and assets, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today.
Katie, thank you so much. I appreciate the cape that you wear. And if you're still listening to this right now, like Katie mentioned, your time is and your attention is your most valuable asset. And it's the one thing you can't get back. And so I thank you for your time, respect you so much for investing in your growth and your family's growth. And I wish your days be full, lots of life, lots of love, lots of laughter, and always lots of learning.
Thanks, Jim. And thanks to all of you for listening. And I hope to see you again next time on the Wellness Mama podcast. If you're enjoying these interviews, would you please take 2 minutes to leave a rating or review on iTunes for me? Doing this helps more people to find the podcast, which means even more moms and families can benefit from the information. I really appreciate your time, and thanks as always for listening.